Hi everyone, my name is Zoria Shmanabayeva and making a presentation on the academic English course, analyzing the way we developed three first parts of the thesis, our thesis writing using the rhetorical purposes. So according to the overview, I will start talking about what was WA2 about, what I was able to accomplish in this task, and some challenges I faced, and what things I was able to learn throughout the course, and my first experience of writing those initial chapters of the thesis. WA2 is writing assignment number 2 on academic English course, where we were supposed to analyze the way we developed the introduction, literature review, and methodology parts as well, using rhetorical purposes. In general, this academic English course was to give insight to the rhetorical purposes and to teach us use them in our everyday writing. What I was able to do according to this task, to provide examples or excerpts from these 3 chapters: introduction, literature review, and methodology. In the introduction, I identified the rhetorical purpose as direction, to provide direction for the reader. It was kind of a summary at the beginning of introduction part, where I informed the reader in general what the chapters are about in this part. I think this is essential, especially when you are short in time and you have to go through the huge amount of sources and quickly identify what is relevant and irrelevant for your topic that you are working on, especially for the researchers and master students like us, especially, so you know from your own experience. In the literature review, I mainly focused on meta-commentary rhetorical purpose, since the literature review contains a lot of jargonic language that most of the readers might be probably not familiar with. For example, not everybody knows what is twice exceptional while discussing the topic of gifted education. So to clarify, meta-commentary means to clarify yourself. So self-comment, to clarify what you meant by stating that, is very important and really helpful to make your piece of writing easier to understand. And the last one, in the methodology part, mostly I refer to to provide information. So this was a rhetorical purpose. Since this part mainly informs what and describes, we can say, what steps or what actions the researcher is going to take to be able to collect the data, analyze, and just to conduct the research overall. I would like to talk about the challenges that I faced while developing these 3 first chapters. At first, when I heard the number of the words that we are supposed to write in these chapters, I was really scared. Let's say I panicked a lot, but the supervisor that we have is really helpful, especially in even teaching us how to write relevant sources. So it was really difficult for me independently to find the sources. So what I did is I went back to my supervisor, showed the way, those sources that I found, and he said he suggested me some tips, some websites that are really good in helping me to find those relevant sources. It was also too difficult for me to cope with those multiple sources. So you have tons of a huge amount of information, and while writing you have to show not only one source that you have read, but you have several sources that you took this idea from, and to provide that multiple sources in the reference, it was really difficult because it takes time. You have to go back, you have to remember where did you read firstly, and then go back and again make sure that you are taking that information from that article that you are showing in your reference. So this skill is takes some time, I think. I would like also to know how you coped with that task. You can comment above below this video. The last thing that the least but not the last thing, the challenge I faced was providing synthesis in a structured way. I mean, synthesize those information that we are reading and provide it. So what I did, I would always go back and ask myself why it is important for me to write here. What sense does it make for me? How important it is in writing this. So coming from the purpose, I would synthesize. But anyway, it was really difficult to contrast and compare, make conclusions, write it in a cohesive way and in a structured way in the paragraphs. So coming up from my challenges, I would suggest you from the things that I learned. Rhetorical purposes are really important because everything about what makes good writing is rhetorical purposes, connecting, providing directions, concluding, showing the examples, listing your information, meta commentary, and the other stuff that we learned from the source They Say I Say were really essential. And I believe that the one that wants to become a good writer should follow up those purposes always and keep in mind. Another thing that I find is important and effective can help you to make your writing effective is plan ahead. Planning means not only timing yourself, but also go through your sources, your articles, confirm it with your supervisor, because in my case I had to rewrite almost like 90% of my literature review only, since the sources that I read and rely on while writing, the ideas were not so effective. So I would suggest you to plan ahead and plan specifically what articles you are using, what each paragraph will be about. You can write it in a question form. That is very effective. The next, I would suggest the one who's beginning to write a literature review or their thesis is always read a lot. Until you don't read, you cannot write In order to have some ideas, you have to read. So reading helped me in this case a lot. I think it helped for my other group mates as well. I relied also mostly on second sources, and my supervisor made a notification kind of to rely mostly on first sources, because I over relied on second sources. So try to always go back to the first sources, find those sources, even you are reading them from the second sources. And of course, structuring is important, and the main thing, like win-win thing that I learned from this course, structuring not only the whole writing essay, but also structuring every sentence, every paragraph, and making connection not only between the sentences but also between paragraphs is best thing that you can achieve as an academic writer. And I'm really happy that I got insight into it. I understand it. I can do it. And of course, I shouldn't stop in this. I believe that in further writing, where we will be developing the paragraphs about our data analysis, data collection first, data analysis, findings and discussions. These skills will be essential. Thank you for your attention. I'm looking forward for your questions and comments for this video.